Now, the work of the Lawyers Committee is made possible by support from this community, and we especially thank our primary sponsors, Morrison & Foerster, Pillsbury, and Wilson Sonsini for their support. Our first speaker, first up, Jim Brosnahan. Jim has tried 150 cases, and he's won 135 of them, including representing John Walker Lynn, who converted to Islam and traveled to Afghanistan and was tried as a terrorist. Back in 1968, Jim was head of Lawyers for Robert Kennedy and attended the first meeting of the San Francisco Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights. Tell us about it, Jim.
I think everybody in this hall would understand what a thrill it is and how energizing it is for me to stand here at this point and look out at each of you, getting the civil rights comfort that you have to get, getting the feeling that there's an organization that will stand and deliver. And every person in this hall, no matter what you've already done, no matter what you've committed to, is thinking about what you can do now. I'm going to do a little work on sanctuary again, and next week I'm going to write a little piece on the nominee for the Supreme Court. Nothing big, but it'll be my way. My granddaughter is in the 8th grade of a school, which I won't name, in San Francisco. And she is deeply concerned that undocumented classmates of hers will be taken away and sent to a country that they don't know. These are real people out there. I sometimes think when we, and I do this, become too conscious of statistics, what we're really doing is dehumanizing the people who are involved. Brosnahan is an Irish name. And when the President of the United States says he's going to deport my granddaughter's friends, we take that personal. In Dublin or Belfast, it's Katie bar the door. That means the fight is about to begin. I've been asked to cheer you up. So I'm not going to talk about the president. I have thoughts, you have thoughts, keep those thoughts. I'm going to talk about us and give you some good news. Walt Whitman's poetry has not been repealed. Walt Whitman, of all of the poets America has ever produced, looked at all the people. Sometimes you may be in a cocktail party and someone explains to you that we live in a political bubble. And the next time they do that, please, at my request, tell them that inside that bubble is the future of America. And if they doubt it, let them go to Silicon Valley and see what the future is. Let them walk in the Castro and reflect on the men and women who were there 30 years ago and say, what is possible for us to do? No, we're not going this way. We will present, the lawyers will answer the question that was raised at a meeting in October of 1968, what can lawyers do? And I know I'm talking to a group that are very busy. We're all busy. We have families, we have law practices, we have clients. We don't have time to save America. What? We can save America. In some ways, we are the soul of America. If that's hyperbole, it's been a good living for me, all right? I brought you 5 Americans picked at random. I could have picked 50 or 500 or 5,000. These are just people that did things. They were busy. They have families. They don't have the time. But let me show you John Adams got on his horse, rode across the bridge, and up towards Lexington. He had a wonderful law practice. He was successful. Today, he'd be a super lawyer. Numero uno in Boston. Why did he do that? To confirm factually that what he heard was correct. And when he saw dead British soldiers, he turned around. And he and thousands of others created a government which allows people like me to stand up and tell you what's in my conscience and what's in my mind, and you can do it too. Imagine a man, a graduate of the Michigan Law School, with a graduate law degree from Harvard, who's in officer training in the Second World War and is told to go to a separate pool because he's black. And he said, no, I cannot do it. And they said, the other 5 will go. Why won't you go? Cecil Poole, later the U.S. Attorney in the Northern District of California, said they must do what they think is right, and I must do what I think is right. We must now, each of us, do what we think is right. No matter what the TV blares, we will do this as best we can. Joseph McCarthy took this country by the scruff of the neck. You had to be there. I know a few of you were. He frightened everybody. He looked for communists in the Department of Agriculture. And then he accused a young lawyer from Boston of being a communist because he was a member of the ACLU. And a lawyer, a senior partner in an old, somewhat stuffy law firm in Boston, came forward and leaned across the table on national television, and he said, have you no sense of decency, sir? Lawyers confront bad things. We do it every day. Imagine a young man in an open car in Chinatown in San Francisco in June of 1968. Imagine him talking about family, as only the Kennedys could talk about family. And imagine him talking about the poverty in this country and his desire to fix it. Imagine that. And nobody in that country that day understood the risk that he was undertaking better than he. He knew what he was doing. And then he went to Los Angeles, and then he was gone. He was a lawyer. He did all that. Then I have my final one, is one of our own. When I say our own, I don't just mean Morrison Foster, although why not? But I mean a trial lawyer here for over 40 years who recently got an award. And she was graciously accepting it. She was described correctly as a pioneer, a woman trial lawyer for all those years. And here's what she said. If there is a Muslim registry, I think there probably will not be one, but if there is a Muslim registry, I think we should all sign it. We're lawyers. Wait a minute. What does it say? Is it a false statement? No. We're going to sign it. They did that in Europe in the Second World War. They all wore armbands. I think, without exaggeration, that is where we are. If you don't mind, if you would join me in reciting a few of these things, if you're comfortable in doing it. And we will hear our own voices and we will gain strength from it. We will fight. We will fight for our values. We will fight for our environment. We will fight for economic equality. We will fight for our public schools. We will fight for our health care. We will fight against military adventurism, which will bankrupt the country. No laughing in the middle of this. This is serious. We will fight for the Supreme Court starting next week. We will fight for humane immigration policies. And when it gets bad, and when we're discouraged, and when we can't understand our fellow white males in Alabama, we will always remember they want jobs, they want education, they want opportunities. Whoever is telling us that we have nothing in common with them, put it out of our minds. And when it's a bad day, retreat into poetry. Robinson Jeffers from Carmel, the only hell is fear. We're afraid. I've said it. Fear must be followed by organization and action. I cannot look at Mexican people the way the President of the United States does, and I dissent from his awful description of those folks. We are your brothers. If they come and give you a problem, we'll be there. It is no idle statement. Understand. Sor Juana was the first great poet in the Americas, and she was just tremendous. And here's her poem, which I wish the President could hear specifically. Because if there is one thing that drives the devil up a tree, it's hearing of a woman who is smarter than he. Has it been a while since we read Octavio Paz? Has it been a while since we looked at the art that has come from Mexico? The blaring colors, all of that, all of the revolutionary stuff. Has it been a while since we looked at that side of things? Might be a good time. And I close with Walt Whitman. There never was any more inception than there is now, nor any more youth or age than there is now, and will never be any more perfection than there is now, nor any more heaven or hell than there is now. We will go out of this hall, we will support groups, we will be with people that it will be an honor to meet. We are going to do it. I have not the slightest doubt. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Well said.